And we're back. See how simple that was? Let's see. Alright, so we left off. We just got orbit around Kerbin. So let's see what else we have here. These visual surveys actually do give out a small chunk of change, but you do need to have a certain amount of plane parts to get that started. So that is a future goal. Radial decoupler landed at Kerbin. Done. Is that the only one? Yep. Let's just do that real quick. Hello. The notepid? Is that kind of like the notepad? But with otherworldly spelling skills? And as I get started on this, I remind you, if you like what you see or just want to stick around long enough to berate me when I do something wrong, feel free to hit the follow button, which will, if you're set up to, give you email alerts. This looks stupid, but it's what we're going to do. Email alerts whenever we come on. I like Gmail because it puts all my Twitch alerts into the social stream, so it doesn't pop up on my phone every time someone does show up. But if I want to check it, it's always there. Whoa! I forgot about that. I forgot about the radial decouplers having a little bit more power than you might otherwise think. We still get recovery for that, right? Successful test. Cover vessel. Side parachutes. Yeah, I'm going to get that one next. I mean, besides being the only non-plane part in that tier. 600 funds. We did get the... Oh, we didn't even get the radial ejector. Oh, well. We got some science off of it. LE909, that's got a good ISP at vacuum. And obviously we want those parachutes. So, easiest 15 science spent. Got 20 left. We're not going to get... We could go with stability, but... Getting the aeronautic parts, you kind of have to... Like, if you're going to go into that, you need to go invest in a few different levels. I don't think we're ready to do that quite yet. We obviously want the Science Tech to get the Science Junior, which also gives us some comms and some station parts that we're not ready to use yet. Good to see. We'll definitely want that when we start getting into flight, but not quite yet. That gets us the radial department. The strut, which, you know, struts are important. And this gives us a fuel tank and the radial mounted liquid engine, which none of them are really great. And we're not getting anything so big and complex that we need the strut quite yet. So next is probably going to be science. In order to do that, how much are we short? But we got 20. We need another 25. And yeah, so as a reminder for those that you might have joined later, when I created this career mode, I nerfed science gains down to 50%. So we really need to work for every little bit of research we can get. Some of that is going to be alleviated by the fact that I've added the mod Station Science, so once we get up to a certain amount of infrastructure, we'll be able to do some station science in orbit. But that's basically so that it's done that way. So there's a couple of tricks between the administration building and farming research on Minmus. I mean, you can unlock the entire tree easily without having to leave the Kerbal orbit. Yeah, you just need to get like 3 or 4 landings on the moon, and then hit Minmus with a research station and get every biome, and you come back and before you've unlocked the entire tree. So I nerfed by 50% to make it so that those tricks you now can do to make the game easier are necessary, and now you still have to do things on top of that to get the entire tree. And I did that instead of saying, I'm just not going to explore Minmus on everything, because I don't want to take away aspects of the game to make the rest of the game better. And speaking of infrastructure, let's do this right now. We've got a little bit of bank. Let's upgrade this launch pad, because right now the max weight is 18 tons, and with an upgrade it's 140, which is a wee bit of difference. And it also makes it so we can do taller. Most importantly, it's not just a dirt pile in the middle of the field. So we did that. That took half of our bank, but we're still a little bit healthy. This is something else I'm going to do, I think. It's going to hurt us monetarily, so we're going to have to plan our next launches carefully. But outsource R&D, 10% funds income changed into science. So anytime we get money from a mission, we're going to get a little bit of science too, and that adds up. And that's what we're going to do. 43. So that's a third of our current income, or current coffers. I still think it's worth it. So we got that. All right. We have no contracts. Let's fix that right now. It's a good one. Flight over Kerbin. Flights over Kerbin are a little bit hard, because you need to get right at the same speed, right at the right speed at the right altitude. Although that one's pretty generous with the altitude, but also doesn't pay all that much. Science data from space around Kerbin. That is easy. Done. Okay, so here's the effect that we're getting from the outsourced R&D from the administration building. Instead of it's showing us modifiers here, just accepting it is going to advance us 17 research. That's big at that stage of the game, or the stage. And on completion, it's 102. That's actually fantastic. So we're definitely doing that. So now that makes the high orbit, or it's going to be suborbital, but boosting straight out to above 250k to get into that new zone. I mean, just getting a crew report from that high up, it's going to be big. Excuse me. All right. Is there anything else we can do? We're going to go suborbital. We can get one of these other ones. That's the only... Oh, no, both of these. Suborbital. R10 solid fuel booster. Well, the Sepratron is going to be a lot more lucrative. So we'll go with that. We've got a plan. So our goal is to go straight up, hit at least 250k, get a little bit of science, do a quick test. Let's see. Let's see. I hope the chat's not frozen. If it is, I apologize if I'm not responding to you. Oh, no, it's not. Okay. Thank you. Let's see. Let's get our science in first. Bam. I like to do that just like that. Although nowadays having 2 goo canisters on a single launch is not quite as important as it would be otherwise. Let's see, what do we got here? We're still limited to 30 parts, however. That hasn't changed. That actually makes those larger tanks a little bit more worth it, come to think of it. What do we got here? We have... I do not have my video, so I'm looking at the... we have someone whose name is... something. Azard! Thank you! That's what I thought. Hold on. Let me put this over here so I can actually monitor that better. I actually had to wait for the stream to catch up. But thank you, Azard! And, yes, let's see. Welcome to the incursion zone of the robot overlords. Your efforts will be noted. Especially, you know, you've been a pretty big contributor to the stream so far today, so I thank you for that. Alright, so we don't need to get into orbital speeds, but we do need to get pretty high up there. Could we just do the same thing as we did before? Let's see. That's not bad. Do we get the... yes, we got the radial mount, so that's going to make that a lot easier. We don't have to add structural parts to add our parachutes anymore. No, you go back there. No, now you're not centered. There you go. Now, I don't remember how much delta V is required to go straight up. But to get to 250k, I'm going to assume it's somewhere around the same for what you would need to get into orbit. What is the exact details for this? We need to be... oh, well... we only need to be above 81,400 meters for that. So, we'll test those out just by giving ourselves an extra little boost. And we'll move that up to its own little bit in the staging. Let's see. That overheat. I think that's pretty good. Let's try it! In the name of science. Let's first of all, plenty of space, no problems. Let's get our staging right. We do not want that to go off at the same time. Stagger that. That's right. Stage recovery. And stage recovery says we're all good. So let's go to space. Space. I want space. Space. Uh-oh, space cops. I'm guilty of being in space. Oh, you know what? Let's revert this for one reason. And that reason is I want Bob to be in the pilot seat this time. We need to get him leveled up. It's not going to do much good for Jeb just to go boldly where he's already gone before. That's good, that's good. Alrighty. Oh, right, because Bob is not a pilot, and thus he cannot operate the SAS. You know, what I could have also done is empty the mono, but that's okay. That's not going to make a huge difference, I don't think. So we're going to have to fly a little bit by a wire. This will be fun. Alright, 3, 2, 1, and go! Jeez. This is going to be hairy. Starting off on solid rockets with no SAS. Tipping a little bit. I'm having to feather the controls a little. Okay, so far so good. No, now we're going to the left a little bit. Good enough. Oh, we should have had that at max throttle, but that's okay, I think. Alright. Let's get her straightened back out a little bit. So at least we have gimbaling again. Oh, nope, nope, starting to drift. Come back. Okay, stage recovered, that's good. Go back up there. I want this to tell me as soon as we are above 81,400. Yeah, who needs SAS, right? Oh, and there's nice city lights. We're on Twilight right now. Get back, get back up there. I can't look away for a second. Okay, constantly having to adjust. I'm really missing Jeb right now. Okay. We're out of the dense atmosphere, so we're going to start accelerating really quick, which is good because we're down to a quarter of our delta V. Get back up there. I guess we should just go prograde instead of trying to go straight up. This might not be high enough to get above sea. No, it's not. Ah, oh, dang it! I just... Oops. I hit spacebar too soon. Whoops. But it does kind of look like we weren't going to have quite enough fuel to get as high as we wanted anyway, so we'll just take the opportunity to do that. Stage recovery, are we still good? Yeah, we are. Whoopsie. Let's do that again. Before I get Bob. Okay, Bob's back in there. Whoops. Premature spacebar. Oh, drop some frames. Yep. Had popped it off a little too soon. Apologize for that. I swear, it never happens to me. There might have been a little bit of hiccup in the stream there. If there was, I apologize. Alright. Second verse. Same as the first. Oh, yeah, it would help if we got back in the game. There we go. Alright, so I took the opportunity to just add another fuel tank in there. And again, can't operate SAS because Bob is apparently not versed in that. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, and come back. He immediately wants to go off to the right. I'm assuming the velocity of the planet rotation is just kind of giving it a quick fling in that direction. And it still wants to go to the right. Alright, come back up. There we go. That's a little bit more stable, at least. And going off to the right is okay a little bit, because the planet is spinning underneath us. So you do want to arc it a little bit, so when you come back down, we'll come back down somewhat close to where the KSP will be, rather than where it is now. Feather, feather, feather. Too much feather. Come back to me. There we go. Right there. You can do it, Bob. I trust you, Bob. I really don't. I don't trust any of these guys. Okay. Let's bring that up again. Because I want it to let us know when we're underneath that minimum height. Switch that to orbit. Still wants to rotate off to the right. I'm not sure. I think Bob here is just right-handed. He's a little bit heavy on the controls on that side. Okay, that's good. Don't drift from... How are we looking? Not bad. Probably can go up a little bit more. Apo 270. So we cut the engines, and we'll give ourselves a little extra kit with the Separatrons. Because why not? That puts us at 277. That's perfect. And we have a little bit of fuel left to adjust as we come back in. So, 1, contract complete. Let's look at the Majesty of Kerbin a little bit as we fast forward a little bit closer up to Apo. For 8, 9, 5. There we go. Crew reports. High above Kerbin, which still should count as Kerbin space. 3.8 science, that's pretty good. Mystery goo, 7.5, we'll do that twice. The second one, it says 7.5, but it's diminishing returns. I don't even know if that's going to come back with much of anything, but we might as well take it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to reset that one. Because we're going to come down in the... or we're going to try to come down in the ocean. Yeah, I don't think we've gotten goo from the ocean yet. I know it doesn't count as much, but... but it's something. Let's see. That's probably out... That's a good arc, but I don't think the planet's going to rotate quite that fast. So, we're going to come negative 90 degrees, otherwise known as 270. going to nudge our orbit ever so slightly in this direction so that we don't land in the happy little trees. Ever so slightly. Nudge just like that. In fact, we're probably going to want this to come straight down at this point. And this is also just to burn a little bit of more fuel, so that's not weighing down our chutes. Oh, wait. Where's KSP? I thought KSP was over there, but it's not. Or is it? Oh, it's so hard to tell on the twilight delimiter here. Alright, let's fast forward a little bit, try to get that around. Because KSP itself doesn't have any lights, you know? I think that's actually KSP, not back there. So, before we get too low, let's burn a couple more liters of fuel in this direction to put us back into that velocity. Because right now, if that's KSP there, it's, yes, Bob Ross. Thank you for understanding the reference. I want to put us in the ocean just outside of the KSP. We're just going to nudge it back up. Just like that. Give us a little bit more velocity that way. And that's... We're coming down pretty fast, so I think that's probably good. Are we coming down pretty fast? Let's check Flight Engineer. Surface mode. Horizontal speed. That's not much at all, actually. But a vertical speed's coming down hard. Yeah, see, I can see the little glimmer there that showed that that was the KSP, not what I thought it was. The transition from the dark to the light messed up my bearings a little bit. That's okay. Let's, I guess this would be radial? Maybe anti-radial? We'll bust it out a little bit more. Again, this is also an excuse to shed some pounds. Hit the gym. And let's speed this up a little bit, because this is a little boring at this point. Can't have that. That's still... Well, we are coming down like a rock here, so let's get us pointing us in the right direction. It's not critical that we hit the water. And we did have deadly re-entry on this speed coming straight down would most certainly kill us too, so let's give ourselves velocity, kill some of our vertical, because we're going to have some really hellish re-entry effects in here otherwise. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, look at those G-forces. Oh, shoot. Oh, didn't remember to do that. We didn't pop our chute. That could be worse. Perhaps check your surface speed instead of orbit to see how you compare to the... Well, we seem to have done a pretty good job here. But I didn't know the surface would be directly compared to the spaceport. It's good to know. Alright, so these chutes are going to pop, and hopefully the spent stage here is going to decelerate. No, we're still on there, so let's hop off here. Can we... I can't believe that the pod is actually... Just get over... Well, this is possibly worse, but... Since when was going to space an exact science? Just don't come down on my head. Pretty please. Alright, let's speed this up a little bit. 6.5. Don't fall my direction. Don't fall my direction. Whoop. Close enough. Before I forget, let's get the mystery goo. Escapes into the water. Who cares? That's what we want. Contract complete. Stage recovered. Let's get out of here. We still need to recover that non-busted part of the stage. Yeah, see, I should have let that go, like, way when I was at the Apo. Excuse me. Alright. But look at the science we've gotten. And Bob's got his experience. That's good. And let's go over here. Recover that. Give him a little more funds. So we've already recovered a lot of the funds we've gotten from upgrading the launch pad and enacting the outsourced R&D. Now we've got a bunch of research to spend. Let's spend it on this first off, so we get that nifty little science. Plus, the the solar panel helps a lot too. T800 is going to help save on part cost, so let's do that. What do we got? We can either spend... Well, we can actually do both of these or one of these. And I don't know if there's anything here so important as we want to skip these. So let's just flush out our tree, and we've got enough to go back and do this. So we've got all the first 3 tiers complete, 23 left over. So yes, I'm running with the colonization mod. Let's see, I'll go down some of the important ones. We've got carbonite, Kerbal attachment system. I've got the MKS, the Umbra Space Industries station and space planetary base mod. We've got station science, so we'll be able to do some of the science from orbit to really give our stations some purpose, and TAC life support, so that we actually have to keep these stations fueled or find some way for them to be self-sufficient. And those are some of the big ones right there. I haven't done anything like B9 or any of the part packs. It is something I want to explore at some point but I didn't think it was quite right for this one. Oh, we've got a couple more pieces over there to recover. Some more debris. There we go. Alright, so what do we have for missions now? New mission. Visual surveys at Kerbin. I don't think we're ready to do those yet. What's this? Ah, that's the location. Yeah, thank you. Got it. So we are there. Oh, those were only single places, so that's not far. But we don't have any space plane parts. Or just plane parts quite yet. Anything to speak of. So we'll save those for right now. Ooh, rescue mission. See, just by doing our outsourced R&D and putting that to 10%, we lose 6,000 funds. But look how much science you get for completion like that. So that's one of the reasons why I knocked science gains down to 50% when I created this. So we can do stuff like this. New orbital stations on a solar orbit? No. No, at least not right now. Solar orbit? You know what? We're never going to do a solar orbit. Really? Orbital station on a solar orbit? I want to at least make it worth it. That's... I just want to decline that one just so we get another... Oh, you know what? Keep your thoughts to yourself there, Gene. I do want to do a station. I just don't want to put one in the solar orbit. Rescue Kerbin. Oh, that's gonna be actually that's gonna be really rough without nodes. That one doesn't get much. Solid fuel booster, solar directory, blah blah blah. That's not great. That's not great. Let's see. Position satellite. In a tundra orbit around Kerbin. Oh, okay. So it's a periapsis of 73.5 K, but an apoapsis of over 5.5 million. That is a highly eccentric orbit. Oof. Oh, look at that. Highly eccentric orbit right there. Let's see. Ooh. Test the skipper engine in orbit. Look how much funds and science we get from that. Holy crap. Do we even have... We don't even have tanks for the skipper engine. But it expires in 4 hours. I almost want to just slap it on a small tank and then let her rip. I kind of want to do that. Let's see. You know, I'll just pick that up. It's not anything to sneeze at, really. But I don't see a very good thing to couple this one with, because I think we're just going to put everything into trying to complete... not that one. Not that one. Where is it? Where's the skipper engine? This one. Put everything into that. And the radial... Testing a radial mount at that altitude is probably just going to happen on its own. Do I have a skipper? No. But in career mode, if you accept a contract to test a part that you don't have yet, it will give you that part. And I'll show you here in a second. So let's do it. Let's throw caution into the proverbial wind. We're going to get 167 science just for accepting the contract. So let's see. Oops, we don't want that. We want this. And oh, it doesn't actually do that. What happened? I thought it gave us science for completing the science. Huh, they must have changed that. So we got the monetary advance for it, but it didn't give us the extra science. I don't know if that's because it was just for an acceptance and they changed it so that we wouldn't actually get the science for that, or they just don't give us science for anything that doesn't give us already. Kind of expecting to get science from that, but we didn't. But that's okay, because look how much we'll get on completion. So let's go back. So I'll show you here in a second. If you have a part that is that you don't have normally but is dependent on a contract, it will highlight it in this blue. You still have to buy it in terms of you know, the overall rocket cost, but it gives you to it for free without having to do the prototype cost. So, but we need to get this in the orbit before we even use it. Data from space. Oh, that's from the previous mission. So we have to be somewhere between 90 and 95K, basically, is what it's saying. Something else to consider is that we do not have a stack separator that big. So let's say, let's take these goo canisters off because we're not going anywhere that is actually going to help. Let's get the Science Junior because we're going to be up there. Let's do this right. I don't think that's actually... not that. I don't think that one parachute is good enough. Oh, it is. Without the goo canisters, you can actually land with the Science Junior and a command pod and be fine. Good to know. So let's... here's where the challenge is going to come from. Put on that, and we put on the skipper engine, which is obviously a little bit silly. Oh, who do we got here? We have the NoPid. Thank you for joining. Thank you for following your fellow robot overlords. Your efforts will be noted. Let's go back in here. So, right, obviously, this looks silly. Stop from looking over there, get back over here. Do you get to keep it? Well, no, you don't. Well, I mean, you get to keep it for as long as the contract is active. But once that contract is done, you lose it. So you can technically take on a contract and just not complete it and be able to use it for other launches. So you still have access to it, even though you might not have access to it in the tree, or you haven't paid the prototype cost yet. Oh, by the way, I'm talking in this is in hard mode too, and I mean, yeah, in moderate, you do not have to pay a prototype cost. As soon as you research it, it's unlocked. But yeah, so once your contract is complete, it goes away. So as long as that contract is active, you still have it. You can even use it in the other launches, but that contract doesn't stick around forever. It has an expiration cost, and the bad things that happen when you don't complete a contract like that makes it not worth it. So you do eventually want to complete that contract. Plus, with the now that this is in beta and we have the upgradable buildings, you're only allowed a maximum of 2 active contracts at a time with the base administration building, not the administrative building, the mission control building, whatever it is. So to have one of those slots always filled up, it's kind of costly. So you gotta figure out if that's worth it to you. So this skipper is... so it jets out there. And the main problem we have, we've gone ahead in the tree. We don't have it, but if I try to do this, oh, that works. Huh. It's just sketchy as hell, but it actually works that way. The connection might not be the strongest, though, so we need to keep an eye on that. Let's buy the T800, which is, again, essentially two of these stacked together, but we're running a part count here, premium. The VAB is, or this isn't the VAB, this is the, I guess it is. Anyways, this facility at its base level can only hold 30 parts, so buying the T800 tank rather than the T400 tank, or two of these, saves us a part. Let's see what we can get away with here. We need to get this thing in the orbit before we can actually even initialize it. Technically, you can get away with not doing it, but let's live in the spirit of the mission. Let's see, another stacked coupler. Okay, we're at 2381. Well, no, we can't really count that stage because we want to be in orbit before we use it. So we only have about 1200 Delta V. Hello, Jax. Jax is hungry. Jax wants me to take a break and feed him. But let's get this launch done, and then maybe we'll take a quick little station break to make him happy. But let's do this first. We gotta get this thing in the orbit and start raking in the monies. If we can get up to about 500,000 funds, that is about enough to get started on our first space station, I think. Is he popping up on the stream? I think he's... no. So, Jax, you're just going to have to be patient there for a second. Let's see, what was I doing? Let's get back into here. So what happens if we just give these all T45s? That is... no, wait, that's... we want that to be the same stage. We can add some more fuel there. What's the part cost? We're still got some space. Okay, so that is a good thrust to weight. It's a little bit low, but okay. However, not enough to get us in the orbit. We do have these solid fuel boosters. Is that a little extreme? I don't know. What would happen if we just did that? That... if we did these at the same time, gets us closer. Not close enough. 3,000? Let's do it. And we will... we'll use just the regular... this one, because this one tends to explode at a very high rate. This one actually too. Let's see what that looks like. And these we want to fire at the same time. 3849, that is close. Let's do this. Let's take this off. And give it a small tank, because we're really only using this to test. We're not really using that for much in the way of thrust. Oh, that gets us a lot closer, actually. Let's take the mono out of the pod. We don't need that. 41. I mean, that might get us in low orbit right there. However, we need to get this into at least 90, so we don't want to cut it too close. So what can we do here? We can take this down a little bit more. Because again, we only need enough fuel here to deorbit. That might actually be enough. So we'll do that. That's up to 4,200. And what's our part count? We're still looking kind of good. Although we still need to put chutes on here for these lower stages if we want to recover them. We could take out the Science Junior, but kind of want that science. How much delta V do you calculate for being able to get into space? The rule of thumb is, and if I had the actual... Yeah, that is not the actual image that we want. That is, I'm pretty sure, the... from the mod creator, but there's a little subway thing. So the rule of thumb is 4,500 delta V to get into low Kerbin orbit, excuse me. But you can squeak by with a little bit less, just because as you burn fuel, you're going to gain some delta V because you are shedding mass. So 4,500 is kind of the target. And if I was just trying to get into like a 75K orbit or so, 42 and change is probably good enough. But we're just trying to get into 90, which is a little bit higher. I just want that little extra bit of assurance, you know? Let's see. What happens... This might actually cost us some weight. What happens if we put a small tank in there? 43, so that's 160 more delta V. This stage is, well, we're gonna throttle limit that anyways. How many parts we got left? 6. Which is basically parachutes. You know what? We're gonna go with this and cross our fingers, I think. Let's add a couple of parachutes. I don't even think... We might not have enough parachutes to get a total recovery. But let's see what it's going to take for a good enough recovery. 2. Yeah, we only got 2. So we're not going to save the solid tanks, because once the fuel is spent, these things aren't worth much. But I don't even think that's not enough for these tanks, but it might get it down enough. So that comes in a little bit fast. Is there any way we can lose a part here? No, I think we're just going to have to call that good. $53 tons, which is more than twice what we were allowed on the old launch pad, so thankfully we have that again. Alright, let's space this. Do I want... Let's get Bill in there. And you know what? No, let's get Jib. Because we have a couple of really large solid rockets there. And even though I've added gimbling down here, it might be hard to control. So let's try it. Let's do it. First of all, let's hope this doesn't tip over. And let's see. Oh, we're going to actually quickly fast forward this in the day. I do have one of the minor things I added is called ambient lights, which is an older mod but still works. It adds smaller surface lights to the craft. Not like the huge floodlights, but just enough to light the outside. It makes it look cool, and it makes it a lot easier to see at the nighttime. We haven't unlocked those parts quite yet. But that'll look nice in the nighttime when that happens, and it'll allow us to do a little bit more at that point. So let's take off surface. I want the thrust to weight to be roughly around 1.7. But we still want enough coming out of the liquid engines to counteract the fact that the solid engines have no gimbling or ability to steer, basically. Our staging is a little bit messed up here, so let's fix that. Those go out at the same time. Just run it off that way. We want those chutes to go there. We do not want those chutes to pop off at the same time as the engine. We want that to do as decoupling. And same thing with the skipper engine. Oh, wait, is that right? Yep, that's right. Okay. F5 for safety. Let's throttle this down. Okay, so again, we want that thrust to weight to be about 1.7, so we'll take the liquid engines down to about 2/3. Sounds about right. A little bit more. Alright, 3, 2, 1, space. Alright, a little bit high, throttle back down a little bit. We don't want to spend too much of our liquid fuel fighting the atmosphere. There we go. So as you know, air resistance increases, it increases at an exponential rate. So the faster you go, the more and more ratio of your fuel is spent just trying to fight the air pressure pushing back on you. So you just want a steady, like 1.7 is a good happy medium. Let's see, we're already about to lose our solids, so before I start talking about anything else, throttle up to max, let those go. Little bit of paint loss. We're okay. Scraped a little bit of paint off, but we're okay. And we did not lose much in the way of thrust to weight, so that's good. Yeah, those are destroyed. We kind of knew that was going to happen, but that's okay. They're basically empty canisters now. Push this. Start our turn. And get this. Alright, there we go. So we're starting our turn. Let's get that over the orbit right now. Alright, we want the APO to be somewhere around 50 before we start turning anymore. These chutes are not going to be able to fully slow it down, but we should still get a partial recovery. APO of 50, right at the stage separation. That's kind of nice. We're out of the heavy soup, so we can start burning into our actual orbit. Because remember, orbits are mostly sideways. You only go up just to get the fastest route out of the air, but once that happens, the vast majority of your energy is spent trying to go sideways. We're going to keep going like this until we hit our target apo is 90. Go a little bit over because we're still technically in atmosphere, so we'll lose a couple of meters. There we go. And again, because we have no maneuver nodes yet, we have to fudge it to try to get this into a stable orbit. Don't technically need to stabilize on an orbit on all sides. We just need to get into an orbit where the apo, or where we're currently at, is there. The periapsis can just be barely above atmosphere and it should count. So we do not have to expend the fuel to completely circularize. Oh, you know what? I don't know. We could have totally gone without these radial chutes here and put them on the lower stage, because I don't know if this is actually going to capture in the atmosphere. That could have been a way to save a couple of parts. I think when we eject, we might actually be in a stable orbit. So unless this dips into the atmosphere, those chutes are not going to do a damn thing. Oh well. Okay, we're nearing apo. We'll start burning. Now. Looks pretty good. How much delta V we got left? A little bit. I think this is going to come out just about perfect. And orbit achieved. Perfect. 91, 94. Not bad for Aug Violent. And we still got 200 delta V left in the tank. We might not even need the little bit of fuel that we had in this tank. But first things first, let's can we get a crew report? Is that, no, that's not going to do anything from there, but we can definitely do the Science Junior. 12.5 tasty recovery of science. Do that much. Stage recovered. How much did 7.4? Yeah, so we really could have used those chutes on the lower stage. That would have made a huge difference. And this is just going to be stuck as orbital debris for now. Can't use the skipper to orbit and let the stage fall. We could. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Although we could, here's what we'll do. It's gonna wind up on, like, to the other side of the world, maybe. We're in a stable orbit now. Are we climbing? Yeah, we are. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit just to get a little bit more height. Let's get to apo. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going going to point this way. I'm going to burn retro just enough to dip this stage. Yeah, I know. Stream delay. What are you going to do? I'm going to burn retro just enough to dip our periapsis into the Atmos. Yeah, in the Atmo. And then eject the stage. So we'll still be orbit, and then we can just, you know, lightly tap the skipper engine to boost us back in the orbit to make sure that, you know, we fulfill the test requirements. But that should make it so A, there's no orbital debris, and B, we get our stage back, so it's not a total loss. So let's see, we'll burn ever so slightly. Happy little burn. Let's get this down into... Okay, so we're no longer in orbit. That's probably enough right there. So, this is going to put it down into... Let's do this at 45. So it's going to make it hit the atmosphere. I think that'll trigger recovery. I think. So, we eject this stage. Make sure that we are completely throttled down. I'm going to point normal here. Can't activate the stage in a suborbital trajectory and be in orbit. With the throttle on. Yeah, see, that's the... Damn Steam stream. Shoot. Reset. But here's what we can do. Well, we're going to reset it. We might as well do all the things that we said we wish we could. Yeah, see, that's what happens when you're trying to think and do a stream and do everything at the same time. You tend to forget the little stupid details. Actually, I'm going to put that on for a quick second because I think stage recovery does an average of all the things. That's a little bit better. And we'll fix our staging too while we're at it. That's right. That's not right. There we go. There we go. Jeb is still in there. And how much fuel is in here? We're going to take a little bit of fuel out from here. And we're going to take a little bit more fuel out from here. Does that look right? 263 Delta V. I don't want to put, because I just want to make sure we still... Yeah. We'll do that. Half. We'll keep that at half. Yeah, I see. Yeah, I could have orbited after I ejected it, but what I could have also done is create a new stage and fudge it that way, but it seems to be against the spirit of the game. That, and I didn't think about it at the time. We're also going to nudge these down a little bit because they did kind of scrape the paint. Alright, let's try this again. Do this again. Do it right. And then, again, quick break. Do. Time warp ahead. Get this in today. No. Oh. Jeez. Damn it. Okay. So when you time warp on the pad, give it a couple of seconds to settle first. Or that will happen. Catastrophic failure. Start this again. Alright, now we'll give it a couple of seconds to settle out. And now we time warp. There we go. Ah, see? World difference. And there we go. Okay. Let's try this again. Right. Hold on. We want this to be a little less than 2/3. And go. A little this way, but nothing Jeb can't handle. Solid rockets are almost depleted. Preparing to go full throttle up. Now, and eject. And, well, it still scraped a little bit, but it's a little bit better than last time, at least. Approaching 10,000 meters, we will start into our turn. No swing. A little bit of wobble. Kind of expected for something that big with no struts. In fact, I think we unlock struts, but we don't have the parts for it, so... Okay, Apoapsis is at 35,000 meters and climbing. This stage will be spent right about the time we hit 50, which will be perfect. Almost exactly. We'll throttle up and continue into our turn. And we're going to keep curving down until we hit our Apo target of about 92,000. More and more into our horizontal, so that when we circularize, we won't have much to go. There we go. All right. We have in this stage 1,000 Delta V left, which I think we you will be good for. Looks like a rocket made out of jelly at launch. Yeah. Well, kind of look like explosive jello. Oh, why did I turn around? Why did you turn around, Jeb? Let's go prograde. In fact, look at the amazing Jebediah making radial maneuvers all on his own. And overshooting just a tad there, Jeb. Jeb, bring it back. Bring her back, Jeb. There you go. We only have a little bit of ways to go here, Jeb. Alright, I'm taking over the control here, Jeb. You're going a little bit crazy there, and we need to start burning, like, right now. Alright. Bring it back down towards the horizon. And start burning. And now. Again, if we had maneuver nodes, I wouldn't have to try to eyeball it. Going a little bit high, one nose down a little bit. Come on, orbit. There we go. That's almost perfect. And just a little bit left in the tank. So we've already said that we are going to be ditching this. We have no parachute, so this will end up as orbital trash, unfortunately. So long. This looks like this has just had a bad encounter with a shrink ray. What we are going to do... Well, first of all, let's just activate and fulfill our mission. Contract complete. Let's see, stage recovered. 89.6%. That is a hell of a lot better than 7. The rocket boosters were destroyed, much as predicted. It was only valued at 790 each, because they're basically empty tubes at that point. Let's see. So we want to get to about here. But we need to decelerate to do that, and that's right back there. But maybe in an orbit we can get enough space away from it. It may even unload it from physics. So we want to get to the other side of the planet. Oh, first of all, before I forget, let's do this. We're not getting anything from that. Observe science. I would really kick myself if we try to finish the mission without that. Okay, again, we want to hit to about there on that southern tip of the continent before there, I think. We're, again, eyeballing it because we don't have maneuver nodes or anything like that active to really know for sure. Actually, I might try to get this a little bit farther ahead. So there's that triangle. And yeah, try to get in the ocean right about there. So if we look down, we should see that continent coming right up. Oh, yeah, that's actually coming in pretty fast. So let's dump all this fuel right now into this. Let's see how long this lasts. Well, this lasts for. And we're done. That's as much life as that engine with that amount of fuel had. And which is, it's a little bit longer of a, so we'll end up a little bit farther out in the ocean, but oh well. Let's check that. It's got some chutes on it that should land safely. And we'll get this pointed. Let's do that. I don't think the doors would do all that hot if they were actually open during a re-entry, but the game is being as it is. Yeah, eccentricity of 0.01. That's eyeball. That's just like going from max burn to dead stop, just like that. I was actually pretty impressed with that. I'm glad I'm recording this for YouTube, so others can fail to respect the wonder of what I just did. So we're just starting to come in. Let's fast forward. Yeah, we're gonna miss the KSP, but that's okay. Should be able to get a crew report from the ocean, at least. And really, if this were real life, this would be more reminiscent of the angle of attack that we'd be coming in at anyways. Okay, 3 times physics warp. We do that until we start coming into the real soup. Point this retro because that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Makes no difference in the game, really, unless you have something like Ferrum Aerospace installed or Deadly Reentry. But we have neither of those on this time around. It doesn't matter, but I still feel better about doing it. No, don't have Deadly Reentry. It's something that I want to fool around with at this point, but I kind of had. I was testing a bunch of mods, and I kind of had a theme for this one. I really wanted to do planetary bases and orbital research stations, and that much. And you don't want to have to load in too much at a time. It would have made things interesting, but not in the interesting way that I was going for this time around. So we'll probably see it in the future, just not right now. Same thing with like large part packs like B9. I like all those, but I'm kind of going for a theme here. And you don't want to start loading it up, because in case someone wanted to do something similar, we don't want to do something that maybe their computers can't handle all at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. In fact, I've messed around with Ferrum Aerospace. I haven't even tried Deadly Reentry yet. It's a little bit scary. Mostly because, you know, you get these big landers going and whatnot, and they tend to spread out, and you can get some pretty complicated designs, but you really have to stop and think about it when you're re-entering. You need to make sure all your parts are behind your shield. Eventually, just not now. Stage recovered. Just about 90%. That's excellent. And you can see here there's a percentage for distance away from the KSP that they have to travel, and a percentage for speed. So you get more of a discount by landing closer, you get more of a discount by coming in slower. The speed matters more than the distance away. I think you can land this halfway across the globe and still get 50% distance. But yeah, speed matters most. coming in at 6.7, which is pretty much perfect. And splash down. We can get our crew report, because I don't think we've done anything from the ocean quite yet. Look at that. It keeps us out of the thing. It's perfectly above the water. Cover the vessel. Good evening, Casper. And wow. Okay. So we got 1 science from the crew report, 12.5 from material study, 8.8 just because we were in orbit, and 800 thanks to the mission. And in a career mode where you have cut your research losses in half, you've given a handicap of 50%. That is pretty important. So we have landed successfully. We've got a good amount of money and a good amount of research to play with. So for the YouTube, I think this is a pretty good stopping point here. We probably had a couple of other stopping points, but this is where we'll cut it. And for the live stream, I'm going to go on just a quick 5-minute break. Hit a little bio break, feed the cat, make him happy, say hello, Jax, and then I'll be right back. So please don't go away. While I'm away, feel free to hit the follow button, and we will return in just a couple of moments. So stay right there.